I'm Keisha Butts with the CTV News Update. Saying they're overworked and understaffed, Prince George's County teachers are rallying for change at a Board of Education meeting this evening. Teachers Union President Donna Christie says a lack of substitutes has caused many staff to cover for their colleagues, taking away from their planning periods. She says many educators are also working later than 1 a.m. Christie says the crushing workloads are negatively affecting students.
They're not able to spend as much time coming up with those creative lesson plans that really engage students. And then, you know, when your educators are stressed, it affects their mental health and their mental wellness, and it also affects their ability to interact with their students, right? And so there's research that shows that when your educator is stressed, when they're depressed and when they're anxious and they're overworked, it causes an increase in student discipline referrals. It decreases student achievement.
Christie says they're asking for early release days for students. School officials were not available for comment. A member of President Joe Biden's cabinet comes to Prince George's County. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona toured a coronavirus vaccine clinic at Capitol Heights Elementary School. Cardona spent time talking with students and their parents. More than 100 people registered for the clinic, which is one of 52 schools in the county where students 5 and over can get the vaccine. Cardona says he felt a sense of relief when his own kids were vaccinated.
You know, when I was talking to these parents in here, they felt the same way. They felt like this is like the next step. And in some cases, it was the final step for their whole family because everyone else was vaccinated. You know, I'll leave the decisions about requirements to the local and state health officials. That's where the decision should lie. But we know across the country, in the places that worked hard to vaccinate students and the adults, we saw less disruption. We saw communities getting back to normal. We saw students engaging with one another, playing outside quicker, and not having to worry as much. We know what works. We just got to follow it.
According to the Biden administration, some 2.6 million children between 5 and 11 have received their first dose of the vaccine. In other news, Governor Larry Hogan announces a new milestone in the fight against COVID-19. This as the number of daily cases is trending upward over the past few days. The governor says the state has surpassed 9 million vaccinations and 775,000 people have received their booster shots. As for the daily COVID numbers, the state has identified 1,079 new cases of the virus. Of those, 96 are in Prince George's. 9 Marylanders have died of the disease over the last 24 hours. 550 people remain hospitalized statewide. Members of the Prince George's County Council continue to defend their decision to vote for a controversial redistricting map. The map drew protests countywide with allegations of gerrymandering and some calling it a power grab. Councilmember at large Mel Franklin dismisses the allegations and says the map that was approved on Tuesday better reflects the results of the 2020 census. He's calling for residents to come together.
Redistricting usually is controversial. It was controversial 10 years ago. It is controversial this time, and that controversy is hard to avoid. But let's continue forth as one county, even where we disagree, we can be cordial and we can continue to work on a multitude of other issues together to improve our quality of life.
The new map sets the district lines for the next 10 years. The U.S. drug epidemic reaches terrible milestone as the CDC announces that for the first time in a 12-month period, more than 100,000 people have died of overdoses. The deaths occurred from April 2020 to April 2021. In Maryland, there were more than 2,800 deaths during that time period, a 20% increase. Officials blame a more dangerous drug supply and the financial, social, and mental health difficulties of the COVID-19 pandemic. You're watching CTV News. I'm Keisha Butts. We'll be back in just a moment.
Why is ambition respected in men and criticized in women? We may think ambition in women is a good thing, but because of a lifetime of cultural stereotypes, we react negatively. That's unconscious bias. But can unconscious bias really limit women's success? Well, when asked to draw a leader, the vast majority of people, both men and women, draw a man. When we imagine positions of power, we erase women from the picture. Today, only 5% of CEOs are women. It's time to challenge cultural stereotypes and outmoded mindsets. The world is a better place when we support one another's ambitions, whatever they may be. Together, let's question the biases that hold people back. Voice our ambition proudly, without apology. Model ambition for our sons and daughters. Our ambition is to challenge double standards to help achieve women's equality. What's yours? I'm Mindy Kaling, and I embrace ambition.
Welcome back. The Maryland ACLU says police accountability measures must continue statewide. The organization says any police collective bargaining agreement signed before July 2022 must not hinder a new state law. You may recall the Maryland Police Accountability Act of 2021, which goes into effect next summer, creates a new police disciplinary process. Meantime, the Maryland League of Conservation Voters releases its annual environmental scorecard. Legislators were ranked in 4 key areas. Climate change was top of the agenda. The organization is concerned about its effects and how Maryland communities are increasingly jeopardized. The league also looked at transportation legislation, water and land quality bills, as well as environmental justice.
Once again, Maryland has the benefit of having some really strong environmental leaders in the Maryland General Assembly, and not only in how they vote, but how they lead. And we were pleased to see that we had a number of legislators that got 100% on their voting records. So very pleased with both the House and Senate in that vein. There's room for improvements. Collectively, the Maryland General Assembly got a D when it came to climate policy. We are looking for the General Assembly to pass a comprehensive bill that really impacts the greenhouse gas emissions in Maryland. And this is something that we've tried for the last 2 years and to deliver, and that has not happened.
The group also assessed the last 7 years of Governor Larry Hogan's legacy. It says the administration has had a mixed response to environmental issues. The league is calling on the next administration to prioritize climate change and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. To view the full report, go to mdlcv.org. The public gets a chance to weigh in tonight regarding the county's climate action plan. The proposal aligns with a state projection to reach 50% reduction of carbon emissions by 2030. Residents, organizations, businesses, and Prince George's entities can submit responses to the plan. An in-person session will be held this evening, November 18th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Laurel Beltsville Senior Activity Center. The public comment period ends on December 1st. A career in agriculture can come with inherent risk. The average age of farmers in the U.S. is nearly 60, according to census data. The job is also highly physical, and accidents and injuries are quite common. Modern Farmer magazine says farmers with mobility issues, disabilities, or injuries may still need or want to work. To help make agriculture more accessible, dozens of companies are making adaptations for tractors, lawnmowers, and other equipment.
It's really hard to push in the grass with a wheelchair, so I would just kind of like do one row at a time every evening. So when Coit said something about, well, we've got this thing, it's kind of like a little tricycle thing. You just wheel your wheelchair up into it.
It could be somebody that's, got arthritis that keeps them from being able to climb up on their tractor, or it could be somebody with a spinal cord injury, like a high-level injury that has caused quadriplegia. So we've dealt with the whole range, and I'm thinking of one guy in Nebraska that does have quadriplegia, but because of some assistive technology, he's still able to go out and work on his farm. Other people, we work with that have amputations. It could be even mental or behavioral health issues. We're seeing more and more veterans that are interested in farming. And some of them have issues like post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injuries.
Agribility is a national program that supports farmers with disabilities and is funded by the USDA grants. The group has developed an online database called Assistive Technology Toolbox. For more information, log on to agribility.org. Former state delegate Tawana Gaines returns to Annapolis to work with a lobbying firm. The firm Public Policy Partners says it will enter into a strategic partnership with the former lawmaker. The 69-year-old served in the House of Delegates for 18 years, representing District 22 of Prince George's County. Her legislative career was cut short in 2019 after pleading guilty to wire fraud for using $22,000 from her campaign for personal purposes. She was given a 6-month sentence and ordered to pay back the full amount in restitution. Maryland Congressman Andy Harris is facing a complaint with the Board of Medical Examiners, according to the Daily Record. Harris, a physician, says the complaint regarding his admission that he prescribed ivermectin for COVID-19 patients. The congressman spoke about the complaint before the conservative House Freedom Caucus. During a discussion about vaccine mandates, ivermectin is used to treat parasites in humans, but the FDA has not authorized it for treating COVID-19. Prince George's police are investigating a homicide in University Park. It started with police responding to a car accident on the 4000 block of Underwood Street yesterday afternoon. When investigators looked in the car, they found a man inside with a gunshot wound. They say he had been shot while driving and crashed into a tree. A nurse in the neighborhood performed CPR, but the man was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information on the case is asked to call police. And we'll have more news in a moment. Stay with us.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say so that they are safe.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
Thank you for staying with us. If you plan to fly the friendly skies to see loved ones this Thanksgiving, TSA officials say to pack your patience at the airport. Security checkpoints at airports are expected to get busy beginning tomorrow. Remember, masks are still required at airports. TSA anticipates screening more than 20 million passengers during the Thanksgiving travel period. A new office is created to address the needs of the county's diverse immigrant community. It's called the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and it will be led by Samuel Iwu. He's a graduate of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The new office will focus on connecting immigrant communities with county services. Are you looking for some fun activities to participate in before devouring your Thanksgiving meal? If so, head on out to the Laurel Advocacy and Referral Services 17th Annual Turkey Trot. You can participate in the 5K that takes you throughout historic Laurel. There's also a more family-friendly 1 mile. All proceeds go towards the nonprofit, which provides services for the homeless.
It's become a great tradition for families who either live in Laurel or are visiting Laurel for the holidays. And it's just a good way to spend time with family and friends and neighbors on Thanksgiving morning and get a little exercise before the big meal later that day.
To sign up, visit the website on your screen. If you put in PGCTV, you'll receive a special discount. Well, let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, showers likely with a low around 36. Friday and Saturday, sunny and cold as daytime temps drop to the 40s. Sunday, mostly cloudy with a high near 55. And now for the community calendar, the Prince George's County Department of Recreation celebrates the 35th annual Winter Festival of Lights. The display features more than 2 million lights, a giant musical LED tree, and more. The festival starts the day after Thanksgiving, November 26th, and runs until Sunday, January 2nd. This year, the entrance will be located on Route 202 across the street from Riverdale Baptist Church. The main entrance will be closed. For tickets and additional information, visit pgparks.com. And that's your CTV News update. I'm Keisha Butts. Have a good night.